how does ultraviolet radiation cause melanoma? What other influences might be at play? And what is it about ultraviolet radiation that leads people to seek it out or not necessarily prevent their skin from being exposed to it?
Right. Well, UV radiation is obviously very important. Humans evolved living under the sun our entire history as a species, all life, right? And it's essential to make vitamin D and nitric oxide and some other things. So why don't you talk about this double-edged sword here that we've got, where we need some UV presumably, but not too much, and how do you balance that?
Yeah, this is a tremendously important question. So I think there's actually evidence that evolution, human evolution, but actually that means the evolution of animals, and in fact, I think evolution of terrestrial animals, animals that live on land rather than in the oceans, and even to some extent, animals in the ocean have fought the battle of vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fascinating kind of Achilles heel in terms of the biology of our organism, because we need vitamin D in order to absorb calcium in the intestines, and we need to absorb calcium in order to make bones. So all the organisms that the vertebrates, huge numbers of species that have bones in them, which are all the larger animals, are really dependent on the ability to absorb calcium, and then this vitamin plays an integral role in this. And this is not a vitamin that is easily obtained in our diets. We can obtain it in certain aspects of the diet that are kind of interesting, but we can actually make a good part of the vitamin D molecule from actually the same backbone as cholesterol that's related to the cholesterol biosynthesis pathway. But there is one step, one chemical step, where a certain carbon-carbon bond gets broken by a very specific wavelength of ultraviolet radiation called UVB. And UVB hits that precursor molecule, breaks this one carbon-carbon bond, and now the rest of the molecule can be made in our bodies, liver, kidneys, it goes everywhere, and it does what it needs to do. In the absence of UVB exposure and some alternative source like a vitamin D supplement that you might get from a pharmacy or something, people will become vitamin D deficient, and vitamin D deficiency can be fatal. It's a condition called rickets, and in childhood, you cannot you can become severely calcium deficient and fail to make bones, have fractures and all sorts of severe problems.